The Longines Hong Kong Cup will feature thoroughbreds and connections, all competing for a share of $22 million and the most prestigious prize offered at the Turf World Championships. California Memory and Irian return, having finished 1-2 in this race last year and 1-2 in the Cup trial this year. Fellow French-trained horses Giofre and Sanois have produced fantastic finishing bursts to win Route 1 events, whilst Germany have Feuerblitz competing alongside former compatriot Autumn Gold. Her Majesty the Queen of England will be represented by Carlton House. Alcopot from Australia adds to the diversity of the group of thoroughbreds competing. Connections of Zidane, Dan Excel and Military Attack will no doubt like nothing more than winning the Cup. From a humble bakery to Buckingham Palace, the Inman Valley, South Australia to Munich, Germany. The significance of the origins of the owners and trainers competing will fade as their horses stand ready to fire in the Longines Hong Kong Cup.
Looking forward to the Longines Hong Kong Cup, the richest of the 4 Group 1s on Sunday, with a cool 22 million Hong Kong dollars.
Yeah, I think that's a record prize money for the race now. Well, what about the draw this morning? California Memory coming up with barrier number 1, where he was positioned last year and surprised everybody by racing right up on the pace.
Didn't look to be much pace in that race, but there's more this year, I think. I think California Memory had a bit of a sort of a mid-year crisis with a few little issues, but Tony's got him back, and he showed that last time out. He'll strip fitter for his last run too. I think he's been very well prepared by Tony Cruz, so expecting a good run. I think Alcopop, for me, I didn't think it was much to look at, but looks very fit. We did talk to his trainers at Jake Stevens, and he's very approachable man, and we'll hear from that in a little while. I think the horse looks pretty well. Looks a little light for me, but that might just be the horse himself. Irian on the far side, another one that I think will take the step on from the last particular run, and was given an easy time there on the turf. Military Attack, great work here over 1,200 metres, just scooted away from first in command. This horse has come on leaps and bounds, and that's the best he's worked all season. So I think Military Attack, who's drawn awkwardly, will go back, but we might see a better run from Military Attack. And Sanois, this one, quite a short, close coupled individual, looks fantastic in the coat. Not much to look at as an individual, but obviously has an engine, and I know, Brett, you are giving that one a little bit of a chance in the race as well.
I've been impressed with the replays I've seen of him, Clint. The one thing that I like about him is he's got a very, very good turn of foot. So this is obviously a quality race, and he's only a 3-year-old still, almost 4, but I think he's a little bit of a chance in the race.
Yeah, went from a claimer to winning the French Derby, Sanois, and getting good raps.
And owned by a man who runs a bakery,
yes,
so a bit of a great story for him if he could win.
Been the fairy tale of racing for the year, hasn't it? So John Moore saddling up the majority of horses here. He's not the stronghold as far as numbers go.
Yeah, and I think he'll decide how this race is run as well, Joe, because look, he's got a couple there with good chances, I think, in Military Attack and Irian, and John will want a genuine tempo for those two. So I thought Dan Excel or Zidane would go forward, and I think Dan Excel looks the least likely to be competitive. He's a bit of a question mark at the trip anyway. And California Memory, I thought he'd be a bit more patiently ridden this year, fall back the fence, and I think there will be more pace in Jake. Now, Sanois, Brett, I can see him being 3 wide early, but then if the pace does increase down the back...
Could slot in.
Could slot in. But I think early doors might be caught a little wide. But, yeah, John Moore holds the key to that race, how it will be run.
Probably going to be a big moment for the jockey of Sanois, Anton Hamlin, coming to Sha Tin for the first time. It's a very short run to the 2,000 metres. And with the quality of the riders he's up against, it's all going to be rather intimidating. California
Memory had Cirrus Dezague's measure in the Cup last year, and a tough little grey couldn't have been more impressive with this gutsy win in the Jockey Club Cup.
He came from absolute last as well, took the split between them in the straight, hit a little bit of a flat spot there for a few strides, but like he did in the Cup last year, he dug in where it counted, as did Irian. And Irian, of course, was narrowly beaten behind California Memory last year, and well, he's run a very encouraging race here. Zidane was right up on the speed, and Autumn Gold, Well, he's really in the deep end here, but he's run a very creditable fifth there.
He did. Irian ran second the year before as well, behind Snow Fairy, so if anyone deserves a win in this race, it's probably him. But California Mary's just got that fantastic turn of foot, doesn't he, Clinton? And Irian was showing his best there too.
Yeah, and also, you know, Matthews really stood up. I mean, it was a big moment in Matthew Chadwick's career when he won on California Memory last year, and he rode him a treat last time out. He gets along with the horse well, and it'll be a race of tactics again, I think.
Just touching back on the horse Irian from the John Moore team, interesting to hear the news during the week that they flew in the former head farrier from Hong Kong, especially to fit shoes to the horse, and I believe they're considering that it might make all the difference to his chances.
Yeah, well, without, take that last run out, there was a bit of a lull there for Irian.
All right, so well, he's got the numbers again, John Moore, hasn't he? A horse like Dan Excel, you have to wonder, though, whether he's up to this class.
Well, John mentioned in an interview with Clint about 3 or 4 weeks ago that Dan Excel was fairly well exposed over in Europe before he came. Military Attack looks like he's got points in hand in his rating.
This wasn't a bad run for Military Attack either. I just don't think Dan Excel gets the trip. And I think we don't get pacemakers in Hong Kong, but I think he might be one there on the weekend. I really think Dan Excel will go forward, and I think Military Attack will benefit as a result.
Okay, another horse that's had a pretty easy week is Alcopop, the Australian representative, trained by Jake Stevens.
He's come through it well. He took probably a good 3 days to settle into the stable environment. He's sort of from the country. He's not used to this sort of thing, but we're much happier than we thought we would be at this stage. So.
Yeah, obviously arrives in fantastic form. He had a really good spring carnival.
Yeah, it was impressive the way he's come through that with the particularly last 3 runs, sort of 2 Group 1 seconds, then winning the McKinnon. It's been very encouraging.
Looking at his work here yesterday, he seemed to come through that well.
Yeah, definitely. We only did sort of evens from the mile and then just improve a bit from the 400. We didn't want to go too hard. Saturday's work was a lot quicker. He broke 34 for the last 600, so he was flying there, and a couple of sub-11-second furlongs, so he can put the foot down when he wants to.
Yeah, that's for sure. Tactically, he seemed to position him midfield or further back on the day you expect?
Yeah, probably. He doesn't have that early speed out of the gates, which is a bit of a problem. So depending on what barrier we get, and it doesn't look to be a huge amount of speed in the race as it is on paper at the moment. But then trainers and jockeys can decide to go forward when that's the case. So they can. Well, it's 13 horses in the race, so you never know, do you? And hopefully there will be a bit of speed on, and hopefully we can get some sort of position. But sort of quite unlikely. We'll probably be in the last quarter of the field, I'd imagine.
So it's a big moment for Australian trainer Jake Stevens to be standing on the Hong Kong international stage, as it will be for the connections of the fairy tale French horse Sanois.
Yeah, Sanois got to be an undisputed chance if he gets the right run in the race, and I know, Brett, you're quite keen on him.
Still a young horse on the way up, and this is a big contest for him, but I've just been impressed with his turn of foot in the races and the replays I've seen of him.
Yeah, it was great meeting his owner at the barrier draws there yesterday. He was as happy as Larry there, and wanted to shake everyone's hand, and it would be a fairy tale win, as it would be for Alcopop. So I mean, they're the sort of sentimental favourites, I think, for many there tomorrow, Joe.
Well, we've got a Baker with a runner in the race, and the Queen, Her Majesty herself, with a runner too. Carlton House, who's bound for Australia in the Gay Waterhouse stable after Sunday. Yeah,
that'll be interesting. Well, the Bakers made it to Sha Tin, but the Queen won't be making it, so she'll have to listen on the radio, I guess, back at Buckingham Palace.
She'll be watching on TV, I'm sure, Darren, and, well, I think her horse has a serious chance in the race. She's got terrific form.
She'll be listening to you, Darren.
Oh, I'll give her a real wind-up. But I was a little bit disappointed, I've got to be honest, in Carlton House, his last performance against Acceleration. I thought he had a lovely run into the race and there was nothing left in the tank. That was back in October. He's going to have to improve a lot on that run to win this race on Sunday.
Well, let's now hear from his trainer, Sir Michael Stout.
Travelled well, he's in good shape, he's a very consistent horse, model of consistency really. I think 10 furlongs is his very best trip. The form book says his best run was when he was second to Steve then at Royal Ascot in the Prince of Wales, and he won the Dante as a 3-year-old over 10 furlongs. So look, it's a tough race. If we get into the frame we'll be happy, but he's never run a bad one.
You've drawn well. I mean, is he the type that can sit handy if you want him to?
Yeah, I really like that draw, you know, in there on the fence. Yeah, have him handy with some cover.
and like he's probably got to produce one of his best to do it. But you sound like you're quite confident.
Produce his very best. Yes. Yeah. But listen, he's very consistent and he's very honest. He'll run well. So
a high-class field to contest the richest race on International Day. What are the tips here? I'm
going with California Memory. I think he's got to use that draw in a race where I don't think they'll go too hard. Then Sanoir and Irian, cracking first up run by him, 2, 10 and 6.
Yeah, I was unsure about the pace, so I think it might be a Baker's Delight, actually. I think Sanoir might be able to accelerate and win the race. I've got California Memory in there as well, and he's a very similar type horse. They've both got terrific acceleration, and Carlton House in 4th.
California Memory's a big chance. I think Sanoir can win the race. And I think if you want a long shot in it, it'll be Military Attack, and the pace could be good enough for him if a couple of his stablemates go forward.
It's dubbed the greatest show on turf, and that it will be on Sunday.
No doubt about it, regardless of the quality of the horses that run each year, it always seems to produce magical finishes, and no doubt it'll be another exciting day Sunday.
No doubt. More great calling from you, Darren. Good luck.
And a rev up for the Queen.
I can't wait to, if it wins, hear what you have to say. Brett, looking forward to a wonderful afternoon.
Absolutely, Joe. Yeah, no, look, races 4, 5, 7, 8, the 4 big ones. Always a terrific day at Sha Tin, and yeah, let's keep the fingers crossed that the weather does the right thing, and I'm sure no one will be disappointed.
Yeah, I mean, we hope obviously Hong Kong do well, but I think we've got legitimate chances, and obviously the sprint and the mile, Joe, but I think the Cup and the Vase will be going elsewhere.
Okay, well, soon enough we'll find out. Looking forward to a wonderful day.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
As we close the show, we catch up with David Ferraris. In 2005, he tasted victory with the late Vengeance of Rain. Bye for now.
It's always nice training a big horse. You know, they give you so much joy to train. Not much really has to be done with him. He never used to work in company. He'd always used to work by himself because he'd take such a strong hold, and he'd always do the work that was required of him. He was never a lazy horse. But it's, you know, really wonderful to get them to run in these big races and to even get them to perform well is a bonus.
Champion now!
She was a tiny filly, half his size, and she had her revenge the following year, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that was the danger. That filly was the danger, but Anthony had a terrific race, and he had such a rapport with this horse I trained. You know, they were just a formidable pair, the two of them together, and very seldom did they get beat. It's just wonderful to be able to work with these animals. You know, he had a problem, and honestly, I don't know how good he might have been, because he had this heart that used to fibrillate, and who knows, if he didn't have that, he might have been unbeaten. So, you know, he raced with a problem, which made it all the more wonderful.